Iris? You are once again locked in your room and haven't come out yet today. What are you doing in there? You are far too old now to be locked in your room like that all day, so quit it!
Good morning, Joanna. I'm not sure how many times I've told you this already, but I do my work from home. So can you stop trying to accuse me of being locked in my room all day and understand what I've been telling you?
I understand that you want to tell me you work remotely, but I've never heard of anyone your age working from home like you say you are before.
What does that mean?
Well, people your age always go to work every day and do so by car or by bus. And you guys are all used to being at work so that you can communicate with everyone in person since you all don't know how to use phones or computers very well. And you guys are also always willing to work overtime and then like to come home really late at night after everyone else has already eaten dinner, right? So you really expect me to believe that someone who's so used to working like that is now able to work from home all of a sudden? Aren't you a bit embarrassed to be saying something like that to me? I get that you want to feel young, but come on. How would you even be able to work from home anyway, when that job of yours isn't even a big deal?
Well, Joanna, you should also be able to understand that not everyone from my generation is the same, and that means that some of us actually like to work from our computers and phones instead of having to commute to work every day.
Yeah, this conversation has gone on far too long now, so let's end it here. I really hate having to talk to the elderly for long periods of time, so if you don't want me to hate you, stop talking already.
Joanna.
Also tonight, I'll be taking Kyle with me back to my parents' house.
Huh? Again?
I've been kind enough to live with you here in your house for a long time, so it should be alright for me to go to my parents' house every so often, right?
You're the one being kind enough? Living here with me?
I am! Your second oldest son and his wife are living overseas right now, and since they can't be here to pay for you, we've had to step in and live with you as your support.
Huh?
And so what I'm saying is that you have no right questioning me about going back to my parents' house for a little bit with Kyle, because we're the ones supporting you.
I never questioned you going back to their house, though.
Are you sure? Well, if you weren't, then stop talking to me already and let me leave in peace.
Mom, I'm sorry. I'm sure that you've already heard this from Joanna, but...
Right, I just heard that from her not too long ago. Listen, are you sure it's not causing you too much stress to always have to go over there to see her parents again and again? At this point, it's been every week now that you both go back to her parents' house.
Right. I've asked her about what's been going on as well, but I think she's gotten the wrong idea when I asked her about it. Well, I'm not sure what she's thought about it, but to me it seems she feels nothing by me questioning her.
Well, if they're not that upset with you both always going over there or with what's going on here, then I guess we don't have to worry either. But if you have something more to say about all of this, then you should tell her right to her face, without trying to beat around the bush.
Something more to say?
You've always had to go to her parents' house every single week, and by this point you haven't had a chance to relax because of it, right? And when it comes to how busy your life is, you just had to leave that company because it went bankrupt and are now back out looking for work again. There's way too much going on in your life now for you to have to be going to their house every week, wasting away time you could be spending on yourself. I'm sure that you don't want to say anything else to Joanna about this because you feel that it might hurt her feelings. But if you keep holding back your own feelings like that, you're going to explode one day.
You make a good point. You've had to deal with a lot of things like this in your day, so I think listening to what you've had to say is the best option for me. I'll take a moment to think all I want to do, though, and then make my move.
Joanna, could it be that this weekend you're going to your parents' house once again?
Yep. And not just back to their house, but this time we're going on vacation.
You're all going on vacation?
It'll be me, my parents, and also Kyle and his family going on a sightseeing trip.
Is that so? All of the family, then?
What's wrong?
Nothing is wrong with that. It's just that I have work to get done, so, you know.
Here we go again with this. Trying to make it seem as though you're actually doing work in that room of yours when you're too old to even operate a computer.
Mom, I'm so sorry about that. Can you please show me to another job?
Hi, Kyle? This is really out of nowhere. What you're saying is that the company I showed you to try and land you a job will no longer be taking you?
Well, about that, they allowed me to get all the way to the last interview before telling me that they no longer had the position open. Well, don't worry about it now. I just need you to help me find another company that you can show me to, and I don't care what kind of work it is. Please.
Well, if you want my help again, then you're first going to have to talk with your wife about this.
I don't think I want her knowing about any of this, so please just help me.
Are you sure? Then let me go and talk with one of my friends who runs a cafe and see if she'd be willing to hire you. You know where to go if she wants an interview, right?
I'm assuming this is your friend with the old-fashioned cafe just to the right of the library?
That's the one. Come meet me there in an hour or so that you can talk with her.
Will do. Mom, I'm so sorry that I had to ask you for all of that so quickly.
Don't worry about it. It helped me that you came and talked to her when I went.
Well, about that, hearing that there were already plans being put in place, even before I went there, really shocked me.
Well, ever since your dad passed away, there have been plans of having you go there for a very long time. I had been wanting to talk with you about it for a while now, but after his death, time just began to slip away from me, and I never got around to talking with you.
Ah, I see. I guess back in the day when I had lost my first job and came running back to live with you guys, you had already been trying to plan new options for me so that I had a chance at finding work again. But I'm glad that you guys did all of that for me because it's helped me out a lot with trying to find work. That works for me, so I'm thankful, Mom.
That's great to hear from you. I'm also glad that you don't mind that we went ahead and planned a lot of things out for you. Just in case you needed the help.
Well, listen. I was not going to go down a path that Joanna wanted me going down, so I'm happy that you guys were always there for me.
Iris, I would like for us all to start thinking about Kyle and I moving out of this house.
Well, this is something I never expected from you.
Well, can you listen to what I have to say? Kyle has found himself a new job and everything, so I don't have to worry about our lives anymore. But having to stay in a house with a grandma that doesn't have a job of her own is the least attractive life, and I don't want to live it. And so because of that, I'm going to be taking Kyle with me. And we're going to go and live with my parents at their house where they're at least getting Social Security.
So then what's going to happen with me once you guys move out of this house?
Well, hold on one second. I actually plan on having you leave the house now.
You want me to leave the house now? Me?
That's right. My parents' house is too small for all of us to live together comfortably there, so I'm going to take over your house and have them move in with us. And you'll only be in the way of that if you stay, so leave.
Does this mean that you plan to have your parents come to my house to live here and want me to leave?
I just said that, right?
Then what am I going to do once I'm tossed out of my own house?
Well, let's think about that. You mean nothing to us anymore, so we'll just have you sent to the cheapest old person's home we can find and leave you there.
Well, I don't have any issues with myself that require someone to watch over me, though.
Huh?
I've made sure to prepare myself for a future where I don't have to ask my kids or anyone else to take care of me. So you don't have to be worried about sending me to any old person's home.
Oh, well, is that so? Seems that both you and I are starting to be on the same page for once, finally. Well, now that I don't even have to pay for you to go to an old person's home, I'll consider myself lucky.
And as for the $4,000 that I've been giving you and your husband every month, I'm going to stop doing that, okay?
Huh?
I'm sure that from now on your parents will be willing to pay for your guys' living expenses every month, right? I'm finally going to get some weight off my back for a change.
Huh? What the heck are you going on about? It's been both Kyle and I that have been the ones taking care of you and all your needs. So what makes you believe that I'm going to believe that you've been giving us $4,000 a month?
I see. So you never knew a thing about what I've been doing then, huh?
Huh? You're the one that has no clue about the things we've been doing for you. You thinking that you've been giving us $4,000 a month is a load of crap, Iris. Are you starting to lose your mind or something with age now? Well, you told us you no longer need our help, or anyone's help for that matter, so don't come crying to us now.
Then let me ask you this. Did you know that the only reason I allowed you to come and live in this house with me is because your husband, Kyle, lost his job after the company went bankrupt? And he agreed to only stay here until he saved up enough money to move back out? And that this whole time he's been working different jobs and such, you've just sat around doing nothing as his supposed housewife? You should be aware of all of that already, right? Even though Kyle has had a few jobs since you both moved in with me, he's lost them as well and hasn't saved up much of anything. So how could you both be paying to support me as well as yourselves when you are both unemployed?
I just assumed that he's been using up the money he was given when that last company fell apart, as well as any savings he had from when he was younger to support us all.
I understand that he got a pretty decent amount of money when everyone was laid off after the company fell, and he's had some money from when he was single still in his savings, but all of that has been used up.
Huh? Then who's been paying for us all to live here?
Well, the only other person that's been living in the house has been me. And yes, I've been the one paying for you guys. And I haven't only been paying for you guys, but also that $1,000 you send your parents every month as well, since you get that money from me.
Huh? That's definitely a lie. You are just a lost cause of an elderly woman that never leaves her room.
I've made it clear many times now that I do all the work I have to do from home, yet you've chosen to never believe what I've been saying. So if you're still not going to believe what I'm saying, how about you go have a chat with Kyle about all of this? I'm sure that he'll let you know about everything that's been going on with all of us.
Kyle? Has all the money that we've been living off of each month and all the money that we've been giving my parents all been coming from your mother? And when I say money, I'm talking about the $4,000 she talked about. What the hell is your mother doing to gain that kind of money every month?
Well, my mom works from home helping manage a company that works in making all different styles of dresses.
What? Dresses?
Also, she happens to make a lot of money from the houses she rents out.
Huh? She rents out houses as well?
Well, back when my dad was around, he worked in the real estate business and happened to have a lot of properties that he'd buy and then sell. But when he passed away, a lot of those properties that he had were given to my mom, and she chose to furnish them up and rent them out to all sorts of different clients.
Are you kidding me?
So that's why when you ask for mom to leave this house to allow your parents to move in with us, you'll be getting rid of the one person that's been paying for the place. In other words, we'll have to start paying rent.
What rent?
Well, my mom is the owner of the house still, and she's not just going to let us all live in here for free when she goes. And from what I've learned, based off where this house is located, we'll have to pay around $1,500 a month to rent this place.
What?
Whose house did you think this was?
I guess I never thought about all of it that much.
What the heck is up with that? Well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore now. I have some things I'd like to talk with you about as well now.
Huh? What do you want to talk about?
You and I are divorced now.
What? What the actual hell are you talking about? Why would you say something like that to me?
A while back, you threatened to divorce me if I ever said anything about you always wanting to go back to your parents' house and such. And along with those threats, you prepared some divorce paperwork to make sure that I knew you were serious. And since I finally started to question what you've been doing, I decided it was time I handed in those papers for you to the city office.
What the hell did you do that for? If you do really plan to leave me for good, then I'm going to get some money out of you.
You married me without ever telling me about the debt you're in right now.
Huh?
That $1,000 a month you say you've been giving to your parents has actually been going towards paying off said debt.
Huh?
And to try and keep me from ever figuring that one out, you went and had the money sent to your parents and then had them use that money to pay off your debt. That way, I would just think that the money was going to your parents to use and not to some loan shark that you're trying to run from.
Huh. Why do you know about all of that?
I figured this all out when we went on vacation. We were all staying at that hotel you asked for me to hand over that $1,000 to your parents in person, so that I didn't even have to bother sending it to their supposed bank account. However, after handing you my wallet to get the cash out to give to them, I went outside the room saying that I was going to buy a drink. But really, as the door was about to close, I heard you say something about some debt. And so I kept my ears pressed against the door and heard you all talking about how you wanted them to send that to the loan shark that night.
You heard me say that to them? You were still outside the door?
I was, and I heard everything, clear as day. And that's why things are the way they are now.
Listening in on our private conversation is messed up.
And your reason for being in debt with a loan shark in the first place is pretty messed up to me.
Huh? You knew about all of that as well?
You apparently cheated on me with another man while we were dating. And when his wife found out, she made you pay a settlement out of court, right?
Why do you know about all of that stuff as well? I actually hate that you found out about what happened back then.
This is what you get for being a whore when we dated. After learning about all of that crap, I no longer want to apologize for looking into all this behind your back. So think whatever you want about me, but know that I'm not the one who's going to suffer for their bad decisions.
That was all in the past, though. Can't you please forgive me for all of that?
Of course all of that happened when you and I were only dating, so there's not much I can do about it now that we're married. But you hiding all your debt from me before we got married and then using my mom's money to pay said debt off is another thing.
Well, even if you don't like that I used her money to pay off my debt, I don't have any money of my own, so I had to use hers.
Well, normally when someone has debt that they want to keep a secret and pay off, they will get a job of their own and pay with their own money, right?
Huh? You think I should work?
I never actually thought that you were brain dead to the point you thought everyone else should be working besides yourself.
Kyle?
After this, I'd like you to talk with my lawyer about any other things you might have to say. Also, I was able to find myself a new job and I'll be moving closer to that job soon.
Huh?
I'll be working for a cafe that is owned by one of my mom's friends and will help me get back on my own feet and back to making money. I'm not going to tell you where the place is, but I'll say that it's very, very far away from the current town we live in.
But if you go and leave me here all by myself, then what am I going to do to survive? I still have a lot of money that I need to pay. How am I going to pay all of that off?
Don't ask your ex-husband a question like that, you freak.
Huh?
Now, I can see that if I continue talking to you, the same things will have to be said over and over again. So I'd like to end our conversation here. And as for what my mom wants me to say to you, you have until the end of the month to stay in that house. But once the month is over, you need to get lost.
Huh? Hold on a second. My parents are expecting to come and live in this house with us soon, so they've gone and ended their lease and everything to move here. If we're not able to live here any longer, we're not going to have a house to go back to. I'm being serious when I ask you what I should be doing right now. Hey, Kyle. Can you at least stay together with me until I'm able to pay off all that debt? Kyle! What is this? Kyle? Listen to me. What is going on right now over here? Everything that was in this house, like those beds and the dinner table from overseas and the shelves and the chairs and even the fridge and oven. The dishware and everything. It's all gone now. I was thinking that I could at least start selling a lot of that furniture and stuff to start paying off more of my debt, but now it's all gone and I don't know where to find it all. Come back here and save me, Kyle.
For some reason, it seems that Joanna never even noticed that both Kyle and I had left the house and were no longer coming back there before she got home. She then proceeded to stand outside the house screaming at the top of her lungs that I stole all of her things, and that I should be punished for it, but nobody seemed to care. Since she was no longer married to my son anymore, I finally went ahead and gave him $6,000 that was left over from the money I received after his father died, and only did so then so that Joanna couldn't take any of it. Anyway, now that there is no house for Joanna to go home to, and there's no money coming from Kyle in the divorce, the only thing she's left with is her remaining debt. She tried to go back to the new house that her parents started to rent, but when she arrived asking them to let her move in, she turned around to see two men that the loan shark had sent after her. They grabbed her by both her arms and took her away in their blacked-out truck. As of right now, she's working for that loan shark to make back every penny that she borrowed from him, and she will not be able to leave his side until it's all paid off. Kyle made the right choice divorcing her when he did, because had he not, he might have ended up right next to her, working long and degrading days just to pay for her mistakes.